Yo, what's up, everybody?
Yo, yo.
Another episode of First with Foremost. Once again, I'm Dustin. We got Andrew here.
Yo.
And today, I think we're going to talk about, we don't have a guest this week. So we're going to talk about, kind of go through the songs on our EP and kind of like where they came from, a little history about them, and just kind of get into the songwriting process of kind of what went into our bike ride EP. So yeah, man,
Yeah.
Andrew,
Sounds good to me, dude.
let's kick it off with you, man. Was there when you were writing this, or so a little backstory, when you came to me to kind of start this band, you had kind of a handful of these ideas at least hashed out, right? I think some of them were like pretty solid songs in your opinion.
Yeah.
um was there like, were you thinking of like a theme for them as a whole together, or just kind of like song by song?
No, it was just song by song,
Song by
really.
song?
A lot of
Yeah.
this stuff was just riffs I had for years, and then
Okay.
I don't know. We just started hashing them out. Really, a couple of
Yeah.
them were pretty much just like full songs. A friend of
Yeah.
mine was a full song. Carl's house was a full song. A lot of stuff. I don't know. Probably in 2017, I wasn't really playing a lot back then. So
Hmm.
I would just book a gig. Like I would book a gig on my birthday or around my birthday every year just to say I played a gig that year, right?
Yeah. All
So
right. I like that.
remember you came and saw me at Randy's one
Yeah.
time. I remember in his
Yeah. Yeah.
basement. But
Fuck
yeah,
yeah, I did.
a lot of a lot of the stuff from our EP, not a lot, but there's like bits and pieces that are like
Hmm.
from old songs from that I initially wrote back then, right? It's just
Yeah.
like, oh, I could make this way better,
Gotcha.
you know.
That's cool.
And
Yeah.
then we started the band, so a lot of them were just like, "Oh, what can we do with this now?" You know.
Yeah. I just remember like when you were showing me riffs, it was just this like endless stream of riffs. You're just like, oh, also I got this thing. And I'm like, okay, okay.
It's
Like,
kind of
I
still
think,
like that.
yeah, I think the hardest part was like kind of trying to take all the puzzle pieces and be like, well, like how much of this is one song?
Right.
Or what can we, or what, like, what riff deserves to be its own song? What riff deserves to just kind of have a part in a song? Stuff like that, which is cool. I think that's better than having the
Yeah.
tank be empty,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No doubt. It was good that we
But
had something to start with, at least.
yeah, for sure.
I think.
And I mean, when I first heard them, like immediately I was like, oh, this is like, there's something here. Like this shit's good. I was like immediately stoked.
Well,
Like,
thank you.
okay, like, you know, this isn't just like, hey, here's some weird noodle I came up with on a fucking acoustic guitar. It was like, nah, these things had like some depth into them, some meaning behind them. So it'd be cool to hear you talk about kind of, what was going on in your
Okay.
head when you were writing this stuff. But I
Which,
mean, the EP is called Bike Ride EP. It's the first song, but I feel like we should do Bike Ride last.
yeah, because we wrote it last.
Yeah. So
Right?
maybe let's go in reverse order. That'll be weird and interesting for no fucking reason.
Yeah, let's do it.
So let's start with Carl's house.
Okay. Let me pop open these lyrics because it's hard
Yeah.
to think of it right off the top of my head.
Does Carl exist?
Yes, Carl Marsh. He
All right.
was a friend of mine in high school and after high school as well.
Nice.
Um,
Okay. So Carl's a real person.
Carl's a real
Sick.
guy. Carl's
Okay.
house was a real destination.
Good to know.
Yeah, I mean this song is pretty self-explanatory. Like it's almost like a story. I
Yeah.
mean, um, should I go through the lyrics?
I mean, it's like, it's up to you, man.
I
We
mean, I
can.
don't. I kind of.
I think like, so when I hear it, obviously it kind of just beckons back to like, we're from small town bullshit, right? So
Yeah,
like I hear this and I'm just like immediately kind of put in a place where I'm like mentally excited for like a Friday or a Saturday night. Like once all the you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
all right, school's over or whatever it is, and like there's a fucking party at Carl's house. And then
yep,
and then like there's like excitement for it. There's like the, like I hope there's no bullshit. There is bullshit. Like it's just kind of like all of it, all those
All of
like
it in
feelings
one.
kind of like, yeah,
Yeah, I kind of wanted to encapsulate that. Really, I mean, the first verse is just the story, like it sets the scene
yeah,
almost, and then the second verse is just setting the scene even more, right?
yeah. Really like,
And
okay,
I
we're,
mean, the
we're
core,
driving it in.
yeah, the chorus is all the things we did for fun. Man, these days we'd be in cuffs, white owl tubes, and red solo cups. It seems like yesterday. I mean, and the
Yeah,
chorus is just summarizing the verses, basically.
yeah. I mean,
Very
honestly, dude, that's like,
story driven.
yeah, who can't relate to like at least like, okay, fucking red solo cups. Like
Right.
everybody knows what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's
Younger
no
people might not know the white owl tube thing.
yeah.
Like white owl cigars, the blunts. They used to come in plastic tubes when we were in high
Yep.
school.
Yeah,
In the
exactly.
aughts. Back in the aughts. I'll tell you what.
uh yeah, so I mean, is there like what made you want to write about that? You know what I mean? Like
I don't.
just like nostalgia, thinking back on good times type of
Yeah,
thing?
really. I think that's what it was. Was just like I need to write it. I'm gonna write a song. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
what am I gonna write about?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then it's just like, I mean, it just happens the same way for me every time. I like have a spark, and then it just comes out, just comes
Yeah.
flooding out. But the in between is the worst because dude, I feel like I don't even write songs when I don't have the spark. I'm just like, I suck at this. This is terrible. And it's like,
Yeah.
and you know me, man, I'm pretty PMA. I'm like always telling myself, like, oh, you're just in your head, like that kind of thing. But it really gets hard with lyrics for me because it's like, if I don't have the spark of inspiration, it just doesn't, I don't know, doesn't
Yeah, I
happen.
mean, absolutely, man. I
But
mean,
when the spark
there's
happens, the flood is on,
yeah.
baby. Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of creative people can relate to that, like,
Yeah.
the essential writer's block, painter's
Mhm.
block, whatever you want to call it. Um, you know, there's like work that needs to be done to get the creative thing flowing, right?
Yeah.
Like whether that's like putting yourself in situations in order to like gain some perspective or experience in something to like have something meaningful happen to like draw influence on to write a song, or like looking back at your previous experiences
Well,
and
really,
stuff,
that's
and
that's really what it is. I think this
yeah,
song specifically, I was like, I'm gonna reflect on this time while I can remember it because this is such a distant memory because it was like,
yeah,
you know, at that time, like 12 years before, and it's like it doesn't
yeah.
sound like a lot, but when you're trying to recall these things, it's like, oh
it's
man,
it's a, it's a lifetime ago, man.
right.
Yeah,
And then it's like,
none
yeah,
of 12 years ago, none of us were a, like a resemblance mentally of
right,
where we're at right now.
right,
So yeah, um, I think it's cool to, uh, you know, I, you can be as deep as you want to be, and as like whatever you want to like write your songs about the deepest meaningful whatever, but like there's something to be said about also being like, I used to have a lot of fun at Carl's house. I
yeah,
mean, it
yeah,
was
yeah,
just
yeah,
right about that, you
right.
know.
Well, and that's the thing too is like the song is called Carl's House, but really, I only talk about Carl's house in like one line, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And because like the first verse is just like, oh, when it was the summer of '06, what we are, a bunch of dumb punk kids, right?
yep,
And then it's like, oh, we drank like it was our job because we didn't
yeah.
have jobs. We were just getting drunk because we were kids, right?
Your job was to come up with either money or booze during the
Yeah,
week,
yeah,
the
yeah.
money to buy the booze or just
Right. And then
stealing
it's
the
like,
booze
oh,
or
what did we
whatever.
do? Oh, we walked back to the falls.
Yeah,
There's these big buttermilk, or not buttermilk falls, rather.
yeah,
That would be bad if you jumped off of those. You'd be fucking dead.
yeah, yeah, that would be not
But
good.
there is a waterfall near Carl's house that you could jump off of in the summer, and it was fucking
Yeah,
awesome. but we would go back there and jump off, right? And I don't know. So that's really the first verse. There's nothing about Carl's house, even, Carl's house even in there, right?
Yeah.
But the second verse pops off with like the party at Carl's house,
Mm-hmm.
and then when the neighbors called the cops, BJ's married to their daughter now. People get confused on that line. BJ is not married to the cop's daughter. He's married to the neighbors who called the
They called the
cop's
cops.
daughter.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Like, you
Clear that up.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I mean, I don't know. It was just a fun, really, I wrote that song before you and I started the band. So it was really like a fun writing exercise at that point.
Yeah.
Right. And it was like, oh, this could be a song.
Oh, dude, it's awesome. It's like a perfect little, 3.5 minute, like
Story.
everyone can relate. You know what I mean? Like, there's a time in everyone's life where like that's what you were up to, man. Like
Mm,
it does. Like that's like the like early college, like after high school, like everyone figuring their shit out
yep.
time, and it's just like, yeah, it's perfect, man. I love that.
Thank you.
I mean, is there anything in there that like you want to touch on? That
Your
there's like
bass
a little
line, because it took the song like from an awesome or a good song to an awesome song,
yeah.
in my opinion.
Well, thanks, man.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I like that was the first one because I remember you're like, yo, here's like we jammed that in person, kind of acoustic ish, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a very like simple song in like a good way, right? Like
Right.
you know, um, there's like a lot of room in there for what we ended up doing with it. But that was a fun one. The first one, I think, when I was like, hey, can you send that with like out any bass in it, and you know, like I can just sit here and like
Go for it.
whatever, yeah, come up with
Yeah.
something, which was super fun. And that was like my, all right, well, it's like very obvious, but that's like my fucking Rancid song, right?
Yeah, but it's your damn good Rancid song.
Yeah, I was just like,
What
fuck
up,
it,
Matt Freeman?
yeah, dude, I wish, man. Um, but yeah, that's cool. I think it turned out great. That honestly, it's like it's one of my like it's probably my favorite song that we play live. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I fucking love that song. It's just a fucking
I think
jammer.
it's because we kick it off usually with that one.
Yeah,
We're like,
which is
it
cool.
sets the mood, right?
Yeah.
Of the set. Uh, yeah,
Um,
I really
right
dig
on,
it.
man. Okay, next we're going in backwards is Pack a Day.
Oh, yeah. This
Yeah.
one, uh, actually, this might be the oldest like
Okay.
riff that I've had
Yeah.
like clinking around. I actually wrote this riff when you and I were jamming when you lived on Somerset Pike.
Okay. Yep.
Like it was just a random
That
thing
long
that
ago.
yeah
Yeah.
that I came up with back then. And then when you and I started our band, I was like, what was I doing back then? And I was like, oh yeah, this thing is cool. So yeah, I mean that uh yeah, that really is a fun um exercise. It was almost like an exercise too, right? Because I was like, okay, I did the story thing. I don't know what to do with this song lyric wise.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, I mean, there's nothing wrong with a good old ballad or a story or whatever, whatever you
Yeah.
want to call it.
Yeah.
Um, but then I was like, that's like Carl's house. That's from my perspective, right? Um, but I wanted to have like a different perspective in the song.
Yeah.
So it's really like half of the verse is from my perspective, half of the verse is from the person that I'm having a conversation with.
Okay.
Perspective.
Cool.
And then it's like them telling me like, "Oh, shit sucks, life sucks or whatever. I'm drowning in anxiety or whatever. Insert, problem here."
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, "Oh, it's that's kind of par for the course. The chorus is it's par for the course. I'm still trying to kick that pack a day. another proven statistic, just another sinner. Shit, I know better than this. Um,
Love it,
so,
man.
thanks. But yeah, I mean, it's like, oh, that's par for the course. Life sucks. I'm still trying to kick this pack a day that's fucking killing me. I know that this shit kills me, right? And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm still trying to quit that. So like,
Yeah.
that's another proven statistic. And in the dogma of
And
our
here I am
world,
lighting another one up,
I'm a
man.
fucking sinner for lighting one up, right?
Yeah.
Shit, I know better than this.
Yeah.
So
And,
I don't know.
it's,
A lot
nah, it's
of
cool.
that's very literal. I mean, but
Yeah. Well, and, people could take things however they want, but like, it's literal in in your sense of like, you know, focusing on like the actual cigarette, but like, I mean, that could be like,
yeah, I mean, but
I
it's
know,
right,
I know I'm in this relationship and it fucking sucks
right.
and I
It
need
could
to
be
get out
anything,
and I'm a
right?
statistic there. I know I got to get out of this job. I know I got to get out of my parents' house. I know I got to whatever,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
just,
yeah,
it definitely hits on that vibe of like, I know I'm fucking up, but like,
yeah. Life sucks, but like,
what,
look,
what do you
we're
want me to
fucking
do,
up,
man?
and we know we're fucking up, and we continue to
Yeah.
fuck up.
Just,
Like,
can you just fucking give me a minute?
yep,
I'll get there. I know I'm fucking up for doing this, but like, just hang on a second, right?
right. Well, and that's kind of the song. Really, is really that's the sentiment. Really, it's like
Yeah.
I know your life sucks, but like, look at me.
Yeah.
I'm fucking up, and I know it, and I'm
And I'm not
happy.
taking my own advice at all.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. What are you going to do about
Yeah. Right. It's like, oh, I could give
it?
you advice, but you know what? I still smoke a pack a day, which I don't
Yeah.
anymore, which is
Yeah. Congrats
wonderful.
on that, man.
Thank you.
So there you go. Kicking your statistics.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love the guitar in this. I love that we just like, songs like this remind me of like the old school, I don't know, like bouncy punk, I would call it, like where, it's like how many fucking power chords can we cram into
Yep.
this verse, this chorus,
Yeah.
Um, and how many times can we just, well, fuck it, let's just, these two notes sound cool,
Yeah.
you know?
Let's ride him.
Yeah. Screeching Weasel made a pretty good career out of doing that, I think.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, dude, I love the just how this song rips, and then it gets to, it's like, well, a bridge. What do we do here? And you're like, fucking guitar solo. Let's go.
Oh yeah. Let me stroke my ego.
But like, it's kind of out of nowhere, but like in a really fucking good way. Like after hearing it, there was no like, no question of like, should we keep that? It was just like, oh, we're fucking keeping that,
Thanks,
And
man.
I honestly don't remember if that was like, were we just jamming that? And cause you do that,
Yeah.
like
No.
we'll jam shit and you get, which is awesome. Like, I don't know if you're feeling creative or if you're bored, but sometimes you're just
No.
like,
I'm just being creative.
yeah, um, which is cool, because I hear it. I'm like, oh shit, he's about to fucking go off over there. I might hear, I'll hear like a pedal turn on that's not normally there, or whatever it is, and I'm like, all right,
Let's see where
um,
this goes.
yeah. But I think that was a really good like demonstration of like, well, fuck it, let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
And like I said, man, once you hear it in there, it's like, well, that's just like part of the song now, man.
Mm.
There's no going back.
Yeah.
So
I
that, I
dig
think
it.
that's super cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Pat's drum fill after the solo too is
oh
badass.
yeah, yeah,
Super badass.
yeah. I
Dig
mean,
it.
but yeah, he's a super creative drummer, man. The shit that he comes up with is like unexplainable, as like,
Yeah.
you can't tell someone to do what he does in any kind of way. You're just like, here's the space, and then he
Right.
does some shit, and you're like, oh,
What?
cool,
Yeah.
you know, all right,
Did he just do that?
yeah. What was that? And then, it's funny when he was like, hold on, I gotta fucking remember what I just did. What the fuck was that? Okay,
Yeah.
and then it'll like, it's like it comes out of him, and then he has to be like, oh shit, all right, like. Hold on, let me figure that out. Like actually in time. Okay, here we go. Let's roll,
Yeah.
which is
It's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, he's a ripper, man.
For sure.
Um, yeah, is there anything else in that song you want to touch on, like
Um,
a lyric or something that that's like,
no. I don't know. Not really. I think I
All
kind
right.
of made the point with the
Yeah.
before.
It's
Maybe.
again, man.
Yeah.
It's straightforward.
Yeah,
We're
it's
not
really.
beating.
I've never
Um,
really dissected my own work, so this is fun for me. So yeah, we
yeah.
can
This
move on to
is
the next one. We have three more. I mean,
yeah. All right. Next one would be friend of mine.
mm, yeah, this one is another story. Oh shit!
Hmm.
I think they're all stories. I just kind of realized that. Maybe not all
Well,
of them.
I mean, all songs tell a story, right?
Yeah, I mean, this
So.
song, friend of mine, is a story about a friend of mine, more than one of my friends, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about addiction and abuse and that type of thing, drug
Hmm.
abuse.
Yeah.
Um,
Again, man. Right off the bat, like everyone, it's the same as Carl's house. It's like you're painting a picture, and it's like
mhm,
this is the song about that one friend we all have, or
right.
multiple friends that we all have. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Um, so yeah, I mean, the verses are just me telling you about my friend, and I mean, the verses are about a specific friend. I won't
Hmm.
tell anybody
Yeah. Yeah.
who,
Absolutely.
right? But they
Yeah.
really like this song really paints a picture because it's just the same story over and over again, right? Of like, oh, did you hear so and so that we used to hang out with in high school overdosed? And it's like, no, I
Yeah.
didn't know he was even into drugs. Like, you
Yep.
know, like that type
Well,
of thing.
there's two stories that come from that. It's the like you just said, the like, wait, what? And you're like,
Yeah.
I had no fucking clue.
Or
Because I
the
mean,
like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
I was waiting for that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, yeah,
That sounds about right.
yeah. Right.
A kid's been down
Right. And
a bad
honestly,
path.
like so that's the thing. I had the choruses of this song, and it's like we both know how this is gonna end, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to move on, but you get pulled back in. You know, you have
Yeah.
so much to live for. Trying to hold on, swear you'll be strong, or whatever. That
Yeah.
I had that for a while, and then one of my friends died, and it was one that I wasn't expecting. And I was
Yeah.
like, that was the spark for the verses. You know, it's like,
Hmm.
oh, what the fuck? Why did he do this? Like, I thought he was better, and then it's like, oh, I, you just like reflect on like, where, how do you even get into that situation to begin with, and then how that all of the it's like the rabbit hole, right? But it was like a spark of
Yeah.
inspiration that I'm like, okay, this is going to be a song specifically about this because when I wrote the chorus, it was like, oh, this is about my friend that's like fucking up with drugs and like he knows it, and it's like, oh, but you could apply this to anything, really, like
Yeah.
any situation that's not healthy for you, you could apply it to, right? But then when that happened, I was like, okay, this is like the my friend's died from drugs song. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad, but
Well,
whatever.
dude, it's Rust Belt, fucking small town Pennsylvania, dude. Like, it's there's not a person we could go out in the streets and talk to that hasn't been affected by
Right,
this, unfortunately.
right.
So, um, yeah, and it's like I don't know, like that's our thing, man. Like, fuck it, we're gonna talk about whatever we want to talk about, whether it's on a podcast or in a song,
Yep,
you know.
yep.
So here it is. There's some shit we went through. If you got a problem with it,
Yeah,
I don't know what to tell you. You know
yep.
what I mean?
And
Like,
that's the thing
sorry,
too.
dude.
It's
Like,
like,
this is us getting it out of our
right,
chest, right?
right. And that was the
So,
thing too. It was like because when I had the choruses, it was like I was kind of angry about it. Like, man,
yeah,
why can't you fucking get it together? And then it's like, oh, you fucking died because you couldn't get it together. And I was
yeah,
angry about it, right? I'm not angry about it now. I understand it way better. I'm a fucking recovering addict myself, man. I get it inside and out. I get it, right?
yeah,
But like at that point, I was sober for so long, and it was like this person, like I would just talk to them forever, and it's like, how do you do it, man? How do you do it? And it's like, well, dude, I have a fucking kid, so like, that's a lot of like, a lot of
yeah,
it, man. It's like, okay, like, I don't want to die
yeah,
specifically for that reason. So it's like, okay, that's why I stopped when I stopped, in
yeah,
2012 or whatever. Um, but yeah, like I was just like kind of pissed off, but I was like, I'm not. I don't like that, right? Because it's like I get it.
Hmm.
I was there, and it's like I'm not gonna be fucking angry because people have such high emotions over this topic that it was
Yeah,
like it took my friend that I cared for dearly dying randomly from it to be like, oh shit, like this is a little more nuanced than just being pissed off at your friend for doing drugs because they know better or whatever, you know.
exactly.
So yeah,
And I mean, hearing that, it definitely like the song itself tells that story just in like the different parts. Like the intro verse thing is like mellow for us, right? Like it's
yeah,
just kind of like here's some notes, that like go together, and honestly like they just need to be there so that you can kind of like get this story going.
right,
You know what I mean? And then it's like when we get into the chorus part, it's like we did all of that just to get here.
right,
Like
right. Yeah,
here like you're angry and you're like really trying to get your fucking point across now. So it kind of jumps up and out at you, and I dig that because it's like you can hear it in your voice when we play it, and even in the recording, like it's coming from somewhere.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
like
yeah.
not made up,
Right.
not like fictional. It's like, okay, this is real shit. And you know, I'm sure it's a little bit of like if they were here right now, like I want you to fucking hear this,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. Exactly. Like,
So
listen up.
yeah.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
yeah, and to all of you fucking thinking about doing stupid shit, listen up, because this is what
Yeah,
fucking happens.
yeah. I have a very strong opinion about addiction, and I want to make that disclaimer. I'm well aware that my
Yeah.
opinions are very strong, but it's because it's a very personal thing to me, right? I get,
Well, yeah.
people are like, "You're so insensitive," and it's like, "Motherfucker, try." Like I've been there. I'm not
Yeah.
insensitive.
I've
I
been there, done
know
that.
what's
Yeah.
going on. Like, but I
Yeah.
try not to be right because it's like I don't know what someone's going through, so I don't. I'm not trying to purposely be insensitive. It's just like, oh, my opinions are strong, so I say strong, opinionated things about addiction, and people are like, sometimes a little taken back, like, whoa, man, like ease up, like it's like,
Yeah. But
sorry, dude, like I don't know, coming from experience here, like I
yeah,
don't know,
exactly. It's like, I listen, like it's you can joke about it, that's fine. I'm not going to joke about it,
right,
because I've
right,
been there and done that, and
yeah,
and
yeah,
there is no me joking about it. So,
yeah,
it is what it is,
right,
you know. Take that
yep,
somewhere else. Don't do it around me. Or if you want to have like a discussion about it, we can do that.
yeah, exactly,
But like it is it's that's not I'm not
yeah,
coming at this to be a dick. I'm coming at this from a place of
right,
like we're just not going there.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So but yeah, cool song, man. I mean,
Thanks.
again, very I like, I really love the way the vocals and that like chorus chord progression just like flow together, you know. um yeah, it's just cool. It's cool. It's a fun one to play
Trying to
too.
think of it in my head. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, if we were professionals, I probably would have had this loaded up, but I thought about that
It's all good,
afterwards.
man.
So yeah, just go onto Spotify and listen to the songs
Yeah,
after this. Give us
yeah.
some fucking
Go
downloads.
listen to "Friend of Mine" by Foremost on Spotify and cry your eyes out,
Yeah, exactly. Or don't, whatever.
or
Get mad
don't.
at us and talk to us on the internet about it.
Yeah.
I don't really care.
I mean, I think the song is pretty understanding and like not.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any like super opinionated things, right? I was
No,
just I
it's
was just saying like I am super opinionated and I made it a point not to be in the song like,
yeah,
oh,
no, this
this is
ex-
why people can be like this.
yeah.
If they don't seek help, like this is what can happen.
Uh-huh.
Right.
100%. I
That's
mean,
really
I
like
mean,
it. Right.
yeah.
So if
We both
anybody
knew
that's
how this is
listening
going to
is
end.
struggling with addiction, like you can get through it. It
Yeah,
is
and
possible.
exactly, like we both know how this is going to end. Like, what's coming.
Yeah.
It's like there's no hiding behind. You can lie to anybody. You can lie to people. You can, convince people otherwise. You can tell stories and fake things, but like deep down,
Yeah.
what the fuck's going on.
Hmm.
So, and I know it's a bigger beast than being like, I know, and I'm gonna stop. But like,
Right.
the general gist of like, like if you were to have known what that person was up to the entire time, exactly what they were doing, like there's no way not to know
Right.
how that's going to end.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's a dark song, right? Like as far as subject matter, but as far as like listening to it in your car when you're driving down the highway, it's
Oh
kind of
yeah,
a banger,
it is a
you know?
bang. It's like poppy jam along.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, dude.
That's never been done before,
It's those
dark lyrics
dashboard
with,
chords in it, man.
yeah, the dashboard slash alkaline trio chords.
Yeah.
They share a lot for some reason. Cool, man. Well, is there anything else with that one you want to touch on?
Nah, I don't think so. I think we got pretty good on that one.
Yeah, sick. All right. Next would be Red Lipstick.
Oh, yeah. This one was a fun one. Um, we wrote it. I feel like we wrote this song at practice, and I was like, "Oh, I need to write words to it." That
Yeah, I'm
kind of
trying to
thing.
remember how it came up at practice too, but I
I
can't.
don't really know, to be honest with you. Um, but yeah, the lyrics are just like, um, sorry, I've just blanked again. Let me read them real quick. It's
Yeah,
hard.
yeah,
It's hard to just like pull it out of my head. That's one thing that's like, if somebody read my lyrics to me, sometimes I might not even know what they're
yeah.
saying to me half the time because it's like without the music, it's like, how does
What?
that? What is that song about? How does it go?
Yeah,
Lyrics from
exactly. It's like if you tell someone, "Hey, can you just like in a regular old voice just like recite the lyrics to a certain song?" It's like you can't fucking do it. You
yeah.
got to be singing along, you know?
So the verse is just about literally sitting in the living room. So okay, I remember now. We wrote the song at practice. I was like, I need to write lyrics. That
Mhm.
was on the Sunday. The following Saturday came, and I still hadn't written anything. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna sit down and write something, right? And I literally started writing the first verse, and it was just observing, right? I was like, oh, the dog is sleeping on the landing. We're listening to records. Like, it's just me hanging out with my family, basically. It's like, oh, uh, just we're listening to records, basically. Let me look up what it is. Yeah, I won't be thinking about tomorrow or worried about the past. Gonna live in the moment. Fingers crossed at last. Beagle sleeping on the landing. We're spinning at 33 RPMs. Living that good life, singing along to its spin. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I guess, scene setting or whatever. I don't,
Yeah,
uh,
capturing
capturing
kind of
the,
like a moment in time.
yeah, pretty much. That's really it. Um, and then the 90s alt jangle pop stuck in your head, sing along. That's literally me listening to a Gin Blossom song.
Yeah.
The 90s alt
We fucking
jangle
love the Gin
pop.
Blossoms.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
disclosure, Foremost loves Gin Blossoms.
Loves
But
the Gin
yeah, that's
Blossoms.
us just listening to the freaking, and like red lipstick and long raven hair. That's Jess, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, but it's just like me describing all of these things, right? It's just
Yeah.
sitting. And then I didn't know because the second verse is different than the first verse, music wise. I really didn't know what to write for that. And then this is like I was like, oh, I'm gonna go like all Hank Williams on it, right? Like classic country, like type lyric smithing.
Okay.
Uh, the second verse is Mama taught me how to love, Papa taught me how to cuss. I learned the rest from the FM radio that I love so much. That I mean, it's literally hard to come up to say. I don't know
Yeah.
how the fuck
I don't know
I
how you fucking
fit
sing
it in
that.
a
Yeah.
melody. But
How the hell am I going to sing this?
yeah, I'm gonna try
Well, you
and
make it work, man. We figured it out.
yeah, but yeah, I don't know. That one's just like, oh, I needed to write lyrics, and I'm gonna write about us hanging out, listening to records. I didn't fit Drew drawing at the table in there because it's very hard to sing that.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
You know,
But it was happening.
yeah. So yeah, the second verse was just like, oh, I wrote this whole song around like hanging with my family, and it's like, oh, let me throw my parents in here, right? And it's like, oh, how can I phrase or reference my parents, right? It's like, oh, what the fuck? That's gonna be hard. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I could totally go all Hank Williams on this shit. Like, Mama taught me how to love, Papa taught me how to cuss. You know, like
Yeah. Yeah.
the rest
Well,
I learned from the FM radio. You know,
again,
which
man,
is just
super
like our
relatable.
generation, right? Because old Hank would be saying AM radio, but
Yep.
you grew up in the
Exactly.
'90s, you listen to that FM, boy.
Whatever one station we could get,
Yep.
where we lived, and it was not always the best. But hey, man, that just made like I think our passion for like tracking down shit we were actually into even better, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Being stuck with whatever was on the radio dial.
Yeah,
That's cool, man. I mean, that's awesome. It's just like
yeah. It's just
kind of laid
straightforward,
back.
like
Yeah,
laid back, right? That's kind
yeah,
of the lyric vibe. Because I was like, I think I really was reflecting on all the shit that I was doing already, and it's like, oh man, am I gonna like write a story again? Like
yeah.
I already did
Who,
that multiple
who am I
times.
going to write this one about?
Yeah, really. And then it's just like, and then it was just like stream of consciousness. Like I started writing that won't be thinking about tomorrow or worried about the past part.
And that's all you
And
needed.
it was just like, oh, and then it just kept coming out, and I got the chorus, and then I didn't have the second verse, and that's where that
Yeah,
controversy
the
comes
Hank,
from. Old Hank.
old Hank, buddy. Propane accessories. Um, dude, that's honestly, man. I mean, that's another like right off the bat, the whole way through the song, just kind of like driving, like not driving a vehicle, but like song driving,
Oh yeah, the whoa
kind of
oh, oh
like
parts.
yeah, yeah, and just like
Jess wrote that.
yeah.
We were
I mean, well,
sitting
if
there,
you're
and
gonna
she's like, "You need something like whoa oh whoa oh," and I was like, "That's it." And she's like, "What? Really?" I'm like, "Yep, that's it."
that literally that, yeah, 90s jangle pop whoa-ohs,
Yep,
like fuck it, put them in there, man.
yep.
That's what we're talking
We
about. Yeah.
did, man. I mean, they're there, but
Yeah, I think that
pretty
was one of the
sweet.
first times it was like you sang something and I'm like, "Oh, we definitely all need to sing this." Like
Yeah,
there's like no question about that.
yep, for
Everyone
sure.
needs to sing the whoa-ohs as loud as fucking possible. Let's go.
Yeah, thank you, Jess,
Yeah. Shout out to Jess for the whoa-ohs.
making our part catchier.
Yeah. Again, man, another fun one to play. Um I dig that song a lot too. And then we got one more on the list, man.
One more.
Number 1 title track, Bike Ride. So I remember this one being pretty open as far as like what we were going to do with it
Mm-hmm.
until all of a sudden it wasn't open. It was like, we're doing this with it.
Yeah. Well,
So like,
this song really was like another song, right?
yeah, yeah.
And it turned into something. What it turned into, or what the final product is, what it turned into, right? But like,
Mm-hmm.
I had it structured like the other ones, and then we got to playing at practice, and I was just like, no, that's out the window now. Like
Yeah.
this is how we're playing this now. And I mean, dude, I fucking threw away like three different parts that were also in that song to just like,
Yeah.
we play the same. This is our only song that we play the same three or four the same chords the whole time,
Yeah.
isn't it?
I think so.
I
Yeah.
think so
I
too.
mean, yes, they're technically the same
Same
notes.
notes, but they're just
Um,
like different patterns almost.
well, yeah, we were jumping all over the place with like textures and patterns and
Yeah.
like
Oh,
tempos and
the
stuff.
intro, man, the bass swells, and
Yeah.
we're just going for that. I mean, this is what our band is going to be, right? Like this was really
Yeah.
the first like, oh, this is what we could become, like
Yeah.
moment, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a product of like the first time it was like, okay, cool. Like some of the ideas are out of your head and structured into songs. We were like practicing those. Like showed up to practice. Let's play Carl's House. Okay, we played it. Cool.
Yep.
Let's play whatever was the next song. You don't remember exactly, but play that. Okay. And then, then there was like the back burner riffs and kind of things that we would mess around with. And I think this was one of the first times, like, the other thing is like, we worked together for a long time before Pat was involved.
Yep.
Right. And then, like, when we got Pat on board, it's kind of like, well, here's the songs that are like structured enough to be a thing. And then,
Here's a bunch of
the
shit.
here's yeah, and I think that was one of the first times where like we had time at practice, and it was like, you know, just fucking play something, dude, and
Yeah.
we'll just jam.
Yeah.
And I think we that's where like the real concept for what this song was going to sound like came from,
Hmm.
was just jamming. And you know obviously we had a whole episode about gear and all this stuff, so like we're both like nerds about sounds and experimenting with shit. So um,
Big
don't ask me,
time.
why I was like went right to like bass swells, but I, I don't know. You were just playing that like intro thing, and I was like, I don't know. I go through stages where I'm like, let's see how weird I can make my fucking bass sound,
And it sounded
and
awesome.
yeah, and I was working on like again just like on my own trying to have like a bunch of just weird stuff at my feet to
Yeah.
be like, if we ever just fuck around anymore, like I want some weird stuff to access. And I like sat here, dude, I think it was like 2 nights before that practice. I was like, literally like probably watched a rig rundown of something, right? And like there was bass or not bass swells, but there was like swells and that like just kind of ambient, like shoegaze kind of
Yeah.
shit going on. And I was like, oh man, like I wonder how I could like incorporate some of that into like bass playing. And I was fucking around with my pedals, adding like chorus and reverbs and like all this weird stuff to it to try and get just something like weird,
Yeah.
And I landed on that and was just like, all right, cool. Like I'll fucking never use this. And then you just started playing that thing, and I was like, actually, like I'm gonna fucking hit that pedal. I'm
Let's
gonna do this
do it.
super weird thing right here. And yeah, I remember you just being like, dude, like what was yes,
Yeah.
bass swells.
Hell
It's like,
yeah.
all right.
Into it. I think I had a volume pedal back then, and I was volume pedal
Yeah,
envious.
yeah. So all right,
I want to
enough
do
about that.
baseballs.
I want to do a swell. Can I do that?
Yeah.
Let's just switch boards real quick.
So
Um,
yeah, the bike ride song. I gotta open that too. I have no
yeah.
idea. Off the top of my
I
head, I
mean,
don't even
I
know how
just
the
wanted to
song
ride
starts.
my bike
Oh yeah,
right off the
right
bat,
off the
man.
bat, I just wanted to ride my bike because the thrill it got me high. Another obsessive, compulsive sun to shine. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much just a love letter to my bike. Um,
Yeah.
I was really into BMX when I was a kid, like super into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know, man, you get older and you like get into other things, and then it's just like you look back and you're like, whatever even happened to that bike? Like, oh,
Yeah.
I know what happened to it, right? But it's like, why? Why don't you have that anymore?
Yeah. It got left in a garage, left outside, and then eventually some like your parents or
Well,
the
I mean,
neighbor, like,
not mine, right? I
but
mean,
yeah.
not in my case because I'm obsessive compulsive about my shit. But yeah,
Yeah.
I sold it, right? But like, I'm
Yeah.
stupid for selling it. It's really just like,
Well, yeah, that's where I was
um,
headed. It was like there's two destinations. Like it gets sold for fucking $25, or not, like not nearly enough as like what it was worth as to like still have around as a nostalgia thing, or yeah, it just gets like
yeah. So all these verses
left
really,
alone.
uh, the verses are just like me being like, oh man, reflecting on how much I loved this bike, right? And
Yeah.
all of the things it made me feel and like doing that and how it made me feel and like comparing it, right? And
Yeah.
then the chorus is so don't go running down that rabbit hole of regret. You know, it's dark that way. We all have something that feels like baggage, seems like it's the going rate. I mean, that just like sums it up, right? Like, oh,
Yeah.
don't go down that rabbit hole and be sad about your fucking bicycle. It's just, it's just a freaking like like you're sad about selling your bikes for drugs, Andrew. You're
Yeah.
not really missing this object, right? It's like
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
go
Exactly.
down the rabbit hole of regret. It's just fucking dark, and we all have something that feels like baggage like this.
Yeah.
Not necessarily physical baggage, right? Or like
Yeah.
like mental baggage within your head. I know everybody has it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Yeah, that one was fun to write. That was the last one too, and I don't know, man. I was so inspired at that point that I was like, I'm gonna write about my bike, like, you know,
Yeah.
and I
Write
just
about
and I
anything.
just did it, and it was like
Yeah.
firing on all cylinders, and I should have kept up with it. Then I get
Well,
lazy, and then it's like, can I write another song?
what else did I have as a kid?
Yeah, I miss my PS1, bud.
Yeah. I liked how I would play CDs and the colors
Well,
would change
that's the
around.
thing, man. Is like I'm borderline. I'm not a hoarder, right? But like I keep stuff, right? A
Yeah.
lot of stuff, and it's like it's all nice and orderly, organized and
Uh,
clean, and in storage spaces, and like doesn't look like I'm a hoarder, but I got shit from fucking forever ago.
I know, man. Dude, I'm the same way with like nostalgia shit. Like 100%. It's all good. Yeah.
Sprockets from the bike that I wrote about.
Andrew just
Why the
pulled
fuck do I have
sp-
these?
sprockets out of like a fucking ceiling cubby or
Oh
something.
no, there's a little nail on on.
Okay.
There's a nail. They're hanging from a nail.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean,
Well, yeah, man. I
exactly.
mean,
Like, and that was really the thing. Is like, I have all of this shit. Why don't I have that bike? You dumbass,
yeah.
right? And it's like, and then it's just for me reflecting, like, oh, I mean, it's all right, man. It's just a bike. You can get another one. Like,
Well, dude,
and
yeah,
then it's
again,
like,
man,
oh wait, you're in your 30s, man. If you get on that BMX bike, you probably won't have a fucking job because you're gonna hurt your ass.
it's not going to end well if you try and hit some sick ramps. Um but like, dude, you're really good at like taking you're like, okay, like I miss that bike, but like, obviously this song relatable any kid in fucking Pennsylvania, like rural Pennsylvania or like our half of the state, right? Like, dude, the bike was like your life. You used that to get everywhere you were going, man.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
used it to get
My
to Carl's
lifeline.
house. You used it to get to your
Yep.
buddy's house. Like that
Hmm.
was your fucking transportation. It was like you and your buddies were like a little pack of fucking, BMX dudes,
Yeah,
like where are we going and what are we doing? I mean, I was the same way, man,
yeah, yeah,
you know, but also like you're good at like taking a little concept like that. And it's like, it doesn't have to be the bike, right? Like that's
yeah.
not the point.
That's
For
not the
you, it was
point,
the
right?
bike.
Right, but
We
I
all
made it
have,
a
yeah,
broader thing.
yeah, it's exactly like it might be a car, it might be a guitar, it might be
Yeah,
whatever the fuck it is, or it just might be like just a general place in time that you regret not like whatever being more like present in, or like at the time being like, man, this is like a really good spot. I wish I could hang on to this and like embrace it more,
right,
because like I have no idea that in 10 years shit's going to be wild and
right.
I'm really going to miss what I have right now.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think that's cool, man. Cause that's like, you know,
I think my
who,
favorite lyric in this song is, or the favorite line, I guess, is favorite two lines. Right, the first one sets up the next one. Uh, Decades passing in a blink. Now you're 30 something and balding. Being an adult means you've got to try your best not to feel so dead inside.
yeah,
It's just like, dude, I don't even know what I was like, right? It's just like, it just comes out, man, and I fucking love
yeah,
it, right?
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, man. It's just, there's no hiding behind that. There's no like, is he talking about like 16th century Rome, or like what's he like harnessing? It's like he's talking about like fuck, I'm 30 and I'm fucking balding and this sucks. What the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
I just want to ride my bike again. Like, fuck me,
I want
man.
to ride my bike and not feel so fucking dead inside.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, can we just go back? Can we just like, I want to hop in the time machine and I want my fucking, I want my free agent BMX bike with pegs on the fucking right side, you know?
Yep.
But I want to take brakes from now and put them on that bike because the brakes fucking sucked back
Suck.
then. I couldn't do shit with them.
Yep.
Uh, yeah. It's like the first round of the clampy, you know, so you can spin the front
Oh, the
handlebars without
gyro.
having
Yeah, the
the
gyro.
gyro. Yeah.
Yep.
And it was like, cool. Just snip the fucking front brake off because there's nothing there.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, cool. I can spin my bars, but like, it's like a suggested brake when you pull that lever,
yeah.
you know? So, yeah.
That's so funny. I haven't thought about a gyro in years, man.
So I was so excited for the gyro.
Yeah.
So excited for the gyro because my old bike didn't have it, and I like lengthened, you know, the
The
brake
cable.
cables.
Yep.
But it just gets like then they're flopping around, and you
Yep.
spin it, and it gets like all fucked up, and you got to spin it the other way. And let's be
Hmm.
honest, I wasn't fucking, Ryan Nyquist or anything, so I was just like trying to do one cool thing, and it was not happening. But yeah, dude, I mean, yeah, this song just it does, man. It makes you like just think of nostalgia stuff like whatever better days, whatever that means to whoever, um it's cool, man. Again, dude, you're just so good at
Thanks.
like painting a very like, in your head you're probably like, I'm just again, man, I just like I miss my bike, I miss the time, but like, I think anyone can listen to that and it's like it hits them. They know, there's like some feeling involved in it, so it's cool, man.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
So
Uh,
yeah, dude. Well, that's the fucking album. That's the
the
EP,
EP.
whatever you want to call it. It's on Spotify.
What's your
The whole thing. What's that?
What's your most? I have a feeling we're not going to talk much about the EP, much more about it.
Yeah,
I mean, we may in passing, right? But like,
yeah, yeah,
I'm thinking this is probably going to be our last like EP centric since we did the gear and all that kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. This is
Um,
kind of like it
what was
wraps it all
your
up. Like,
What's your favorite part of this era, man? Favorite memory of like from the start of the band till now?
uh, well, I think like initially, I remember the first time you came down to my basement when we were like talking about like, hey man, like, do you want to be in a band? And I was just like, at a point where I was like, fuck yes, I do. I'm sick of COVID bullshit. I'm sick of being locked up. I'm sick of not being in a band. I'm sick of just like a million fucking things. Like, yes, I would fucking love that. And I remember like again, you're like, here's like some shit I got. And being like, okay, like I know I'm like really excited to do something, but also I'm like really excited about these songs. And I
Yeah.
remember like, exactly where we were sitting, and I had a bass in my hand, and I was kind of like, dude, I just want to hear you fucking play these things, and we'll see what happens.
Mm,
And I remember being like really optimistic about that. And then I think the next like really good memory I have is probably when Pat came on board
yeah.
and those that drum in him working on and figuring out the drum intro, that crazy drum intro
The red lipstick.
to, yeah,
Yep.
and
Yeah,
just
I know
being
what you
like,
mean.
okay,
Yeah.
like sick.
Yeah.
Like that kind of felt like the first time where it was like,
Holy shit.
we got,
This kid
we got
rips.
this. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
one, this kid rips, and two, like, this is exactly like what I want all of this to sound like. Fuck
Right.
yes, this is
Right.
awesome.
Right.
And then, um, like the fucking coal tubing show was awesome. That was cool.
Dude,
That was like
that
top
might need its
whatever.
own podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously.
We'll get into that. If anybody wants to know what coal tubing is,
Yep.
it's essentially a river in Johnstown, and you can pay money to have someone drop you into the river with beer if you want, and you float down the river, and then they pick you up and take you back to where you started.
It's fucking
And it's called coal tubing.
awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of like a thing in our neck of the woods.
What
But
up
anyways, they
there?
have. Yeah, they have like a annual summer party called Tuba Palooza, and we got asked to play it, and we played. Our stage was a old tram bridge, like
The
foundation.
foundation
How
to an
high?
old bridge.
Yeah,
Yeah,
how high up was that?
I don't know. It's just like it's across the Conemaugh River, right?
Yeah,
So
but like
any sort of I would say it was a good 20 feet.
20.
I'm terrible at like height, but I
Yeah,
would think so, man. Because
20 or 30 feet, right? I
yeah,
don't know.
because
It was
if
it
we
was
hung
so
over
high that
the
like
edge, we would only go like a little bit of the way down it, right? Like if you were
yeah,
looking at the wall or whatever.
yeah. So we're like super high up on this old bridge foundation,
It's a Sunday morning.
and Sunday morning, and directly below us is just like I don't know, a couple fuck like what look a full river up and down of just like people hanging out on rafts in the water, like
Yeah,
drinking, having a good fucking time, and
getting
we're just up on.
wasted.
Yeah, yeah. I remember like someone threw a fucking tennis ball at me, and I tried to catch it. So that was just like a cool experience
Dude,
that
we
that needs
learned.
mentioned.
Yeah, it needs mentioned that we learned like
Oh yeah,
a ton of covers in like a
yeah,
week.
dude, yeah. There's a little miscommunication there by the people putting. I'm like, when we got asked, I'm like, we're a fucking punk band. We have this much. Like our EP, I'm looking at it, is 5 songs, 16 minutes and 20 seconds, right? So we have a 20-minute set. We play a cover sometimes. Okay, like we can milk that to 30 minutes, right? And they're like, we need to play for like 2 hours. And I'm like, no, that's not what we've. I never said we could do that ever, ever. So we kind of panicked and like learned a bunch of cover songs. We played some Petty, some fucking. I mean, we did Breakfast at Tiffany's,
Yeah,
right?
dude, that was
We did
fun.
Lit. Yeah, I mean, we picked like some fun songs. The Clarks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like,
Oh.
yep. Yeah, so like that, I mean, just that whole experience was like wild,
Awesome.
crazy, just like what the fuck just
I
happened.
know, man.
um
That really like
yeah, and then I think the next moment for me was like the actual EP release show
at the
that we had at the
brewery.
brewery,
Yeah.
and just like honestly the anxiety and the build up, like who the fuck is going to show up? Does anyone even care about
Right.
us or whatever? And then like the fucking place was packed and
It
we
was
ripped it,
awesome.
It was an awesome show. It was like we got a ton of support from all of our friends. Shout out to everyone that was there. That was fucking awesome.
Yep.
Um, shout out to like the brewery owners for letting me fucking have a punk show there on a Saturday night.
Yeah,
Like
it's
that's not
so
something
cool.
we do. Um, which so yeah, it was cool. And then it was like it made it worth it because it was like, well, the fucking place is packed. So
Hmm.
like
Yeah,
this
it
wasn't a
was
mistake.
really fun.
It was a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
And there was like, yeah, just the whole suspense and build up to that whole situation. So those are like my couple favorite moments of the past, whatever, year and a half or
Yeah.
so that we've been doing this thing. What about you?
Yeah, I would say that too, man. Definitely Tuba Palooza.
Yeah.
Um, even though like our first show was really memorable for me because it was at Eli's house. It was
Yeah.
washed up. That uh,
Yep.
AKA they were Plum Bob back
Plum
then,
Bob. Yep.
but they're washed up now.
Washed up PGH.
PGH. But yeah, so it was like really fun for me to play with a bunch of people that I hadn't played with for a long time.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
was really
That was a
fun.
fun show too, man.
Um,
It was cool. It was a cool hang.
yeah, but like that was like us. And then our second show is very memorable for me because that was the first show Drew sold merch at,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is pretty fun. It's like I don't know, man. Just that dynamic of like I don't know, man. Who who was taking their 10-year-old to punk shows, or like who was a 10-year-old being taken to punk shows by their parents? Like I don't know anybody like that. So like
Yeah,
that's just
exactly.
like a very unique thing for him to like,
Yeah.
and he's chatty, super chatty. So like he talks to
Hmm.
everybody and he's like, hey, what's up? You want to buy this or
Yeah.
whatever?
Oh, dude, he had a spiel for all the merch. He
Hmm.
had, like all the sizes of colors of t-shirts and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, he told me, and I quote, that I'm going to kill this because I've watched enough YouTube and I know every sales tactic in the book. I was like, I don't even need to be involved in this anymore. Like, I'm just gonna step away, and you got it, dude. It's handled. We're gonna sell way more shirts than if I was in charge.
Little
So
Drew,
go
man.
for it. Yeah, that was awesome.
I know. It's just fucking hilarious to me that he's only 10 and he's just like,
Yeah.
most people like his age would be like, oh, these punk kids are scary or whatever. And he's just like, yo, what up? Like,
What's up, guys?
yeah,
Yeah.
you
No
know,
fear. Well, that's because you're like, teaching them like there's nothing to be afraid of with any
right,
of these people.
right,
They're just people.
right. Yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah.
gonna talk to you just like anybody else.
But yeah,
Um,
he was at Tuba Palooza as well. That
yep.
was cool for him to like see all these people going
Yeah.
down the river and stuff. He's like, whoa, that's insane.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
like,
awesome.
yeah, man, if it wasn't like if it was warmer, like we could go or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's just like, oh yeah, that's sweet. Let's do it next year. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely those, and then the release show.
Yeah.
Oh, Pat's birthday too. That was
Dude, Pat's
really
birthday was awesome.
really
Yeah.
fun.
I mean, that
Um,
was kind of like a first release show. Like,
yeah,
so for everybody, Pat's birthday was at the recording studio that we recorded the album in. It's kind of like they're kind of doing this like multi.
there's a
um
live space or like a live space in there.
yeah, they're like a recording studio. They've got a room that you can do like performances or shoot videos in and stuff like that, and then they've got a big room like the entranceway where they were starting to have like performances and stuff. So like I think that was one of like the first shows there,
I think so.
like a real big show.
Yeah,
And
there's a ton
yeah,
of people there.
it was also his birthday, which was rad.
Hmm.
Both of his bands played, and that was a lot of fun too.
Got him the cake.
Yeah, he got like 3
I
cakes.
know.
Little spoiled brat.
I know. It was like I messaged Tone and I was like, hey man, I'm getting a cake. Like,
Yeah.
you want to bring it out during our set? And he's like, yeah,
Yeah.
man, for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna sing happy birthday
And then
soon.
like two other people gave him a cake beforehand, and Tone's looking at me like, I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, still do it.
Yeah, let's go
Let's
for it.
go
Yeah.
for it. But yeah,
Yeah, that was cool.
that was really fun for me, and I don't know, it was just awesome.
I I, I think that was like that was one of our better like performances for some reason in my
Yeah,
head. Like I think we just like nailed it
yeah, me
for
too.
whatever reason. It was like a super comfortable show. That
Yep.
felt like not much different than like rehearsing in the basement
Right. Yeah,
to me
yeah.
personally.
No, yeah,
So,
yeah. It was very
um,
comfortable.
yeah, so that was a cool one.
Hmm. Hell yeah, man. I don't know. I think that's probably it. And then like show wise, definitely recording definitely is memorable, right?
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't know. Just the whole experience is awesome. I mean, I don't know, man. I was in a hardcore bit, like a metalcore, I guess is what you would call them.
yeah,
Path of the Flood. I mean, I was doing hardcore vocalist duty before I started the band, and it's like,
singing what? Oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But yeah, so I don't know. It was very rewarding for me to get back in my lane.
yeah.
That we'll get into the Path of the Flood more. I have a couple guests coming up in future weeks. We'll get into
Sick.
that. It'll be
Yeah.
fun to relive that experience because everybody's like, dude, did you see Fatula's in like a hardcore band? What the fuck is he doing? So I'll explain at some point when Corey
Yeah,
or Matt is on. But yeah,
I'm excited for that.
yeah,
Cool,
man.
man. Well, yeah, I mean, I think that kind of leads us to whatever kind of where we're at now, right? Like the EP's out, we've done that.
It's
Still
on
gonna play these
Spotify.
songs. Still gonna play shows. Still gonna play these songs. I hope you guys
Thanks to
enjoy.
everybody who's listened to our podcast so far. It's
Yeah,
very
honestly, like
awesome
this is
feedback. We appreciate it.
episode number 5, and I don't know. It's cool. It's cool to get all the feedback that we're getting, good and bad. Like,
Yeah,
let us know,
let
hit
us
us
know.
up, tell us what you like, what you don't like. Like at this point, we're learning just as much as you guys are about what
Hmm.
this is going to be. But I think the approach we're taking is cool. With like, we're just going to talk. If we have guests, we're going to get deep into whatever they want to talk about.
Yeah,
We're not
maybe
going
in the
to edit
weeds a little
stuff.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh yeah,
and then we're gonna
I get
have
excited about that. You
yeah, same. Dude, I love I love nerding out about like
know.
what if when
Me
someone's
too.
like super into something, and you can tell
Yeah.
that they're passionate about it. I'm just like, oh,
Let's
fucking,
peel
this is
this
awesome.
onion.
Yeah, yeah. And why did you do that? Yeah, I just want to know. Which is yeah, it's cool, and it's I don't know, man. It's the cliche, like it goes by way faster than we think,
Yeah.
and it is cool to like sit down and just like talk this way with people that you and me, we're in a band together. We
Yeah.
recorded an album together, and before the podcast, you and me never sat and talked for an hour
No. No.
ever.
No.
You know, so it's just it's fun, it's cool, and we hope people like it, and
Yeah. Yeah. I
we're
really
having a lot of fun with it. So it's like not going anywhere. So whatever, share, do all the stupid
do all
podcast
the
stuff you got to do.
things.
It's on all the places. Just fucking Google it. You'll find it.
Yeah.
Tell your friends.
Tell
But
all
all
your
right, man.
friends.
Tell all your
Like
friends
Taking Back Sunday says.
to go ride their
Tell
fucking
all your
bike.
friends. Ride your bike.
All right, man.
All
Let's
right,
wrap
dude.
it up. Let's get the hell out of here. This is a little bit of a lighter. We've gotten in when this comes out, we would have gotten into the weeds with two guests in a row. So I think this is a cool like
Yeah.
talk about the album.
Yeah.
It's been fun for me to hear the stories behind it. So yeah, I think
Well, I
again,
appreciate
let
that.
us know if you dig it out there, peoples of the internet,
Yeah.
and
Hit
we'll
us
hit the
up.
fucking yeah, hit us up. Um, foremost PA on all the stuff, and we'll see you guys later. Peace out.
Peace.